All right, it's now time for Week 11
Pussy.
Fantasy Show. Only a few weeks left in the regular season, and after this past crazy Week 10, we have a lot of tightened up standings and tight matchups coming up. So let's look at what happened last week first. Starting at the top with my matchup versus Slaps, and this did not go my way as Slaps picked up a big victory. His team popped off 145 to 131, a respectable high scoring matchup as my team performed pretty well besides a couple players, but it wasn't good enough to beat Slap's team. It's a big win for him to keep his season alive, puts him to 4-6, sends me down to 5-5. So I would have really liked to get that win, but it didn't happen as Slaps had a huge game from Justin Herbert in that Detroit Chargers game was a big shootout, which really helped Slaps. Basically, probably won him the matchup with Herbert and St. Brown getting 30 huge points in that game as well. That was really the difference between the matchup was that Chargers game being a shootout with the Lions and him having the two biggest performers in the game. Derrick Henry did shit. Get Mixon had a touchdown, or else he would have did nothing. So Slaps running back kind of let him down. But he got a huge performance from Trey McBride. He started the right tight end this week. He had Ferguson in earlier who got 12, not bad, but McBride got 21 huge points out of nowhere with Kyler Murray back there throwing the ball. Garrett Wilson had a nice game as well. So overall, some big performances from Slaps' side. On my side, some decent performances from Burrow. Kenneth Walker had a big play for a long 19 points. Hawkinson had a huge game with Dobbs in there. 11 catches for 134 and a touch for 30. Metcalf had a nice game, so my Seattle boys had some bounce back, good performances. I'm going to need that to continue. But Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard were the letdowns on my team. They continue to struggle, and I'm going to need them to turn it around at some point if I'm going to get into the playoffs. So GG's to Slaps, even though he was panicking like a bitch at 2:30 p.m., an hour into the game, saying it's over because he was seeing Hawk pop off. There's always a thing in fantasy football. It ain't over until the final players have played. Just because my player's popping off at 2 o'clock doesn't mean later on in the day one of your players can't match it, and his players did with St. Brown and Herbert in the afternoon game. So GG's to him, even though he's a bitch for saying GG at 2:30. And we will move on. Anybody want to make any comments on this? Slaps his team had a nice game. Everyone calls it shit. I don't know if it's shit or
Yeah,
not, but he started the right guys this week and got a win.
Slaps has impressed me with his comeback. I
Okay.
called him out the shit. I said his season was done, and yeah,
Yep,
his
and he
team's
had a nice
been
game.
popping off the last couple weeks.
hmm Yep. All right, moving on to the second matchup of last week.
Oh
We
yeah.
had Cheese versus Matt, and Matt continues to fall. Another bad performance from Matt's team. That's back-to-back
Oh
weeks
no.
now. 93 points at under 100 once again. He only scored 80 some last week against me. Then he scores 93 against Cheese. Picks up another loss. Falls to 6-4. So at one time he was at the top of the standings and is now come with a couple losses to move 6-4. Cheese picks up a big win to go to 5-5, so massive for his season to put him smack dab in the middle of the hunt. Good performance from Cheese's team as Goff had a nice game, obviously, in that shootout. Aaron Jones didn't do that much, and Stevenson did okay, but it was the CD Lamb show once again. 40, 39 and a half points. Huge game from CD, and he really made up the slack for the rest of Cheese's receivers as Deontay Johnson had a
Oh, look at my
horrible game.
flex. Thank you,
And
Cooch.
Evan Ingram had a bad game, so the CD picks up the slack for them. And obviously Gibbs, even with Montgomery back, was a workhorse in the game and had a huge 26-point performance. So basically, Gibbs and CD and Goff were basically what carried Cheese to this win against Matt. On Matt's side, Murray did have an okay game in his first game back off IR. Najee Harris had another nice game. That's a few in a row now for Najee, although it does look like Jalen Warren, out of reports today, might be coming the lead back, and they may just use Najee down kind of like in the goal line area or red zone area. So we'll see if that affects Najee at all moving forward. But he had a nice game last week. It was really Matt's receivers. You know, we've been talking all season about Matt's receivers carrying him to these wins, and when things were going right and he was at the top of the standings, it was his wide receivers carrying the way. these last few weeks, his running backs have done okay and pretty decent in some spots, but his receivers have been the ones letting him down. Last week, Adams let him down against me. This week, Diggs lets him down, and Thielen continues to regress. Thielen looks like a guy that you should have probably traded high because these last few weeks he's getting the targets, but he's not getting really much production out of those targets. So rough performance from Matt's team. And we'll see what happens with Massey moving forward. Cheese, you can make your comments after your big win last week over Matt.
Look, we're actually pretty happy with the Rondre performance. He's only supposed to be an RB2. Aaron Jones is concerning, but he's only there till Kyron is back.
Okay.
CD, apparently him.
Yep.
Goff is him. The Lions are them. Big performances. And we get Puka back, so.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Stafford back, which is more important
yes,
than Puka
I'm
back.
happy. It's a third straight, very solid performance for my team.
Okay.
I love the burn downs.
I would say is there with the him and the they and the are you trying to like say some hidden message and all that or
no?
Oh, okay.
CD Lamb is just him though.
Okay.
He's the guy.
Yes,
Okay.
and I will continue to mention how at one point you were going to trade him away.
And I didn't.
Well, you did it because of yourself. You did
You're
it
welcome.
because of other people not taking
You're
the
welcome.
trade. So, okay. All right, well, big win for Cheese. Moving on to the next matchup, and this was a interesting one. It came down to Monday Night Football. Rat falls again, 2 weeks in a row. He falls. Last week he fell to Ernie's bye team, which was the shock of all time. This week he said that he could still beat Pussy even with his bye week team, and he did not. He fell short, 108 to 114. Big win for Pussy to go to 5-5. Rat falls to 6-4 as well. So at one point Rat said he was taking first and never giving it back, and then he didn't. So looking from Pussy's side, he traded for Brock Purdy from me for a quarterback this week, and that worked out very well as he got 23 good points there. Etienne finally had a comeback down to earth game as the whole Jacksonville team just got completely dominated. So I don't know if you can read too much into that. But Jaylen Warren, like I said, that's a big boost for Pussy's lineup. If the reports are true and they're using Jaylen Warren a lot more moving forward as like an RB1 of the team, he's going to continue to get PPR points as he had 19 last week. Ayuk, that trade continues to look okay for Pussy as Ayuk's been decent. He played Demario Douglas and that worked as he looks okay. Somebody's got to get some points on the Patriots, and it's been Demario Douglas with 9 targets. Tight end, though, concerned. Jonnu Smith was horrible. Gervonta, the snow monster, I have to admit, I was wrong on this. I said you don't want any Broncos players on your fantasy team, and Pussy has held on to Gervonta for the season, and it has panned out for him as he's had a couple nice games in a row. Had a great game this past week. He's getting a huge carry load, 21 carries. He also makes some catches, got a receiving touchdown. So looking very good for Pussy moving forward with Gervonta. Definitely a guy that at the beginning of the season did not look like he wanted to have, but the Broncos have kind of turned it around a little bit. On Rat's side, he did not have Patrick Mahomes, but Geno Smith, who he picked up after Matt dropped, actually worked out as he had a nice game with 24. James Cook had 12 points, but that 12 points is kind of misleading because he fumbled early on, was benched for 2 quarters, then finally came in and ran hard in the 4th quarter and gave Rat a chance to win the matchup and steal it from Pussy. And he fumbled on a carry. It was an awkward play where it looked like he was going to take it possibly to the house, and he fumbled, which made him have to slow down to pick the ball back up, and then he got caught from behind. If he would have took that all the way to the house, Rat would have pulled this victory off at the very end of the game. So rough performance there. Breece Hall kind of let Rat down as well on Sunday night with a rough game there. Noah Brown, though, he picked up. That was a good pickup for your bye situation. He had a huge game again. DJ Moore, we'll see if he gets any better with Fields back now. Otten, who he had to pick up as well with Kelsey on a bye, didn't do anything, which I predicted that last week after his huge game last week. You knew he wasn't going to do shit this past week. And Scary Terry with a kind of a disappointing game. So overall, not good enough. Rat made a couple good moves to navigate some bye situations with Noah Brown, and Geno, but it wasn't good enough as some of his other guys let him down, and he falls. Big, huge win for Pussy there to go to 5-5. Rat, your comments after back-to-back losses now after you proclaimed your team to be getting the top spot.
Monday night was tough. We all saw that play.
Yep.
It was. I think if he didn't get that fumble, he
Yep.
doesn't slow down, and
I
probably
agree with you. I think
it
he was
was.
gone if
I
he
thought
didn't
he'd
fumble it.
lose. No, Brown, could be a solid bench guy now. That if he just
We'll
stays
see with
healthy,
Nico coming
hopefully.
back how that affects him.
But with all my guys back and somebody else back that we'll talk about later in the show, I'm happy still. I'm fine.
Okay, so the 2 losses in a row
Yeah.
is not hindering your
No,
team
not
spirit.
really at all.
Okay.
Get somebody back.
I mean, it was to Ernie and Pussy though. That has to sting that you're
Yeah,
2 losses in a row.
it's rough, but the
It's got-
standings are also as tight as anything right now. So
Yes,
that's
they
good.
are. But that's not a good thing for you
I
because.
know, but it doesn't scare me.
Oh, okay. All right,
Sounds good.
interesting. All right, anybody else have any comments on this they'd like to make?
Big Rats running backs are in shambles.
Okay.
I have comments.
You love to
Love to see it.
see fake Rat lose again. And I'm
Okay.
still in first
Yeah.
place.
Zombie, you fucking lost
Look,
too.
the slaps
The
fake
fuck?
rat nuke will be happening.
Ooh.
Have
They're so
comments.
nuke.
Whoa, what
Slaps
about me
fake
and
rat
Rat?
nuke.
Me and Rat might
Buddy,
make a trade.
The rat
I'm
nuke
still
will
thinking
happen.
on that one. That's the one
Yeah,
I'm thinking
you better keep thinking. Keep thinking.
I know.
I still have comments
All
on
right,
that
Zach,
matchup.
go ahead.
Oh god.
That could be a preview of the final.
This right here?
Who's saying in the playoffs?
Fake Rat and Ernie?
Oh,
No.
breaking news in the party. Draymond Green suspended for 5 games. Get fucked,
Okay,
Zach.
this is basketball.
Ah!
Rat,
I also
Zach,
have a
Zach,
comment on that.
Zach, you do know Rat was playing Pussy this week.
I did not know that. I thought it was Fake Rat and
No,
Ernie.
they played
last
the week
week's
before.
matchup.
Yes.
Yeah, last week's matchup could have been
okay.
a preview for the final.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. Go ahead with your comments quickly on Draymond Green, although I already know what they're going to be, but go ahead.
Yes. Draymond Green, he is just going to use that time, that 5 games, to go to the strip club. He's going to pull a page out of Matt's book, and he's going to throw them once, and he's not going to miss a dollar.
But is he going to fall in love with the stripper like Matt did and take the kids? And although he
You
won't go
see that-
broke because he's a
You
millionaire.
got to be
Did you
white
see
trash
that-
to do that.
You see that ball
Okay.
sack sports tweet they put in the chat of the highlights of his fucking.
Yeah, why did he have him in
Like,
like a death chokehold? I saw.
He hates
Okay,
Gobert.
number
He was
1, we're
waiting to
going
do
off
that for
topic.
years.
This is a
Yes,
fantasy party.
okay,
Number
yeah,
2,
let's rein it back in.
Have
You're
him,
right.
he didn't have him in
Okay.
a chokehold.
Okay, all right, let's rein it back in. All right, moving on to the next matchup. A disappointing one for
boy.
Ernie as he falls 117 to 82. Lowest score on the week for out of everybody was Ernie's team as it did not perform. Ernie got a couple of his guys back from bye, and it didn't matter because Tyler picks up the big win here to move to 4-6. Ernie falls to 5-5, so it just tightens the standings as we mentioned. Trevor Lawrence, yikes, horrible game from him. As we all were talking last week, Ernie had Dobbs in the lineup, and we were all shitting on Dobbs in the show last week, saying how is he starting Dobbs over Trevor Lawrence, and apparently we all baited him into switching because he blames all of us for switching and putting Lawrence in. So I guess Ernie has to listen to us on how to manage his team. But McCaffrey had a nice game, although he did not get a touchdown, so that streak was broken. Good thing we didn't bet that. Deontay Foreman had another nice game, so he's looking pretty decent for the Bears. I don't know if he'll continue to be the guy moving forward for the rest of the season, but if he is, that's a decent pick up there for Ernie to have. Addison just kind of did average. Jackson Smith-Njigba just kind of average. Laporta kind of, out of all those points, you would have thought Laporta would have had a huge game. So that's a little disappointing to only get 8 when they scored 41. James Conner came back, but although he looked good, carried it 16 times for 73 yards. He didn't get a touchdown, so that's why he can only get the 7. Rough game. And the Bengals got kind of killed by C.J. Stroud again, so rough on that front. From Tyler's standpoint, he started Dak Prescott over Lamar, and that paid off. 37 huge points. Meanwhile, Lamar only had 13. So that's a huge difference. And it would have made this matchup a lot tighter if he started Lamar. So good GM move there by Tyler to start Prescott against those horrible Giants. Great matchup. Eckler had another nice game. Jacob Stiss did kind of okay, but good enough. Tyler's wide receivers kind of let him down. He could have had a huge score line this week if his wide receivers did better. Hollywood did nothing. Hopkins had the targets but didn't do shit. Andrews didn't do anything. Madison, we played in the flex, didn't do anything. So it was really top heavy for Tyler's lineup, but it was good enough facing the lowest score of the week in Ernie. So GG's Tyler, huge win for him to keep his season alive and tighten the standings as we said. Anybody want to make any comments on this matchup?
Yes.
You're gonna need a lot more than just Jay Jefferson to win games.
Well, he's got JJ and McCaffrey.
Yeah,
So,
that doesn't help when the rest of his team does nothing.
okay.
Yes.
I mean, he does have Dobbs though. And Dobbs is like.
I
popping
would
off.
like to make a comment.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Dobbs can continue to do what he's doing, then that could be a big boost for Ernie's team. I don't know if he's going to keep putting up 25 each week.
Ernie is only about 30 points ahead of me in points for, so he's not entirely safe
Ooh.
by points for.
Okay. Well,
I would like to make a comment.
go ahead, Zach.
Ernie's team will be just fine. He's
Oh,
got the
okay.
second best wide receiver coming back, and he's got the best running back in the league who's going
Okay.
to start a new streak. And I would also like to add, I would like to put $100 on Ernie's team finishing higher than Cheese this
Ooh.
season.
Ooh,
Oh.
do we have any takers on that?
Zach, buyout for our bet.
Oh,
I'd like to
That
bet you right now
that wasn't the
that Ernie
question.
will finish better than you.
Nope, because he's already ahead of me. Why'd I do that?
So why?
No,
so
not-
how about you do this?
I'm talking about in the
Wait,
playoffs.
Cheese
not
is
in the
5 and
standings.
5. Zach's only 2 games back. I mean, I don't know why Zach
Whoever
would
wins
take the
more games
buyout
from
right
now
now.
on. Yeah.
I don't know why.
The golfer's gonna be a $99 buyout.
I was gonna why doesn't Zach just concede that bet to you? So, but then you have to put that 100 that he owes you on this bet. So you would either win 200 or you break even. But I don't
Double
know.
or nothing, buddy.
Zach wouldn't do that. I don't think right now because he's only 2 games behind you. I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't concede that loss. Just
No, I'm saying Ernie will go farther than Cheese in the playoffs.
Oh,
I
well,
agree.
what if one of them doesn't make the playoffs?
Yeah, well,
Right,
we
if
could-
Cheese
both
ain't
of us
making the
could
playoffs,
easily-
Or
that's
what if
trash.
both don't make the
Yeah,
playoffs?
both could easily
Yeah.
miss. The standings are so
If
close
anybody
right now.
misses, it's Cheese.
Oh.
Ernie making it.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one was another bit of a surprise. It wasn't really a surprise. Well, most of us, I think, predicted, but it was a high-scoring matchup. Bill gets a big win over Pook, 156 to 130. So rough for Pook. He scores a good amount of points, but does not pick up a win. Falls to 4-6. Bill gets the big victory to move to 6-4. So Bill's team looking pretty strong. Josh Allen, though, did not have a good game. But it was okay because Jonathan Taylor had a nice game. Kamara had a nice bounce back game after his mediocre game. Another 7 reception game for Kamara. Keenan Allen arrived. 40 huge points from Keenan Allen in that shootout back and forth with Detroit. He kind of had a couple mediocre average games, and then he explodes this week with that huge 40-point game. 2 touchdowns as well. Michael Pittman had a nice game. Kincaid had a nice game. Montgomery coming back had a nice game with some big carries and a touchdown. Baltimore's defense also did really well. So a huge performance from Bill's team. Pretty solid all around from running backs to basically quarterback was really the only spot that kind of didn't really do much for Bill, but a huge score. On Pook's side, CJ Stroud had a nice game, not anywhere near what he did the previous week, but it was still pretty serviceable and good. Bijan got a touchdown and had 22 carries for 95 yards, 17 points. That's obviously pretty good in Bijan standards. So if he could keep doing that moving forward, that ain't number 2 overall territory, but it's still pretty solid, and he'll take that moving forward if he can get it. Saquon, though, a little bit concerning as that Giants offense is just horrible, and unfortunately for Saquon, it's affecting him because he can't fucking carry the chains and move the chains and score touchdowns all on his own. He needs some help from his team, and they are just horrible. Chris Olave, though, with another nice game. He's been coming on the last few weeks. Mike Evans had a huge game as well. Could have also caught another touchdown in the game. He was wide open, just dropped it. So huge game for him. Dalton Schultz had another okay game. Lockett, he played in the flex, which was a good move as he had 23 big points. This matchup was so high scoring. I mean, it really just came down to Barkley having a bad game and then Pook's defense getting 0 compared to Bills getting 13. So that was a big difference, those two things in the matchup. Other than that, another big win for Bill. His team is definitely looking like a strong team as we move forward here towards the playoffs.
I'd like to make a comment.
Definitely one of the favorites, I think, at the moment to get into the playoffs. With this team, I don't see it choking down the stretch. All right, go ahead, Zach. Your comments on this one.
It will be a disaster if any of these 3 people win the league.
3.
Absolutely
Who are the
disaster.
3?
Yes.
We're talking about 2.
Would anybody? Yep. I'm gonna
I
say
know one.
3.
Okay.
Who's 1? Fake rat.
Pook Lee.
Pook Lee. That's
Well, no
right.
shit.
I know
Goddamn
the
one of
second
them.
one.
That will be a
I know the
disaster.
second
Who's
one.
the second
Pook
one?
Slap
Bill?
95.
Matt.
No, it ain't slaps.
Bill, because we're
Matt.
talking about Bill, and you said these three.
Absolutely fucking Bill. God,
Yeah.
I hope
Why is
he
it
I'm
always
asking
the
who's the
fucking lead in
third
his
one, because
life.
we're only talking about two guys here. Cheese?
I know a third one. Zombie Beast.
Pook,
I don't know.
Cheese.
Bill, Cheese,
Okay.
and Matt.
Oh, well, that's
Wait,
four.
what are we? Who are we
That's
talking
four.
about?
Okay,
Who
that's
are
four.
we talking about?
A
Well, I
disaster
wasn't
to
really
win the
counting
league.
Cheese
I
at
have
first
a
because
A
he'll
counter.
never get that
disaster?
close.
What the
Yes.
fuck?
Absolutely disaster.
I have a
Just
counter.
I'd be in shambles. I'd
Okay.
be sick. I'd
If
be
what? If we
sick.
won?
Well, listen, we all know who Zach's rooting for to win the league. You already
I
said it,
have a
either
counter.
Rad or Ernie. So, I mean, if anybody else really wins, it's a disaster, I think, for Zach. So, all right, go ahead, Rad. What's your comment?
That ain't true.
Out of all the teams, I think Bill's team is the scariest to me.
Yes,
It's
I
like,
agree.
for
It's coming
for
on at the
me,
right time.
I'm not afraid of Zombies' team.
I
But
ain't
Bill is
afraid
the
of
team
him.
that
Okay.
I think I would be afraid of if
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, his team is
but-
very strong from top to bottom.
Zombies' team's weak.
There's really no holes. That Kincaid pickup a few weeks ago was huge for Bill's team because it helped solidify
Zombies
maybe the
never hit
one
a hole
weak
in his
spot in
life.
Bill's team was tight end. But that Kincaid pickup looks very big for Bill right now at the moment to go with Josh Allen. So GG's on Bill's team and GG's to him 6-4 looking strong. I would not be surprised if Bill gets the bye somehow. I mean, he's only
That's
one
a
game
Bye-week
back.
Bill.
Kill one, buddy.
Bye-week
I-
Bill. We've
yeah,
seen that
It
happen
could,
before.
yeah. It was a disaster
seen
last
that
time, so I
happen
don't know if
before.
Bill necessarily wants the bye.
It ain't
Because we
happening.
saw what happened the
We've
last
seen
time
that
we got
happen
it. But
before.
all right,
I love
moving
bye week,
on
Bill.
to the final matchup of last week, and it was a huge, big
Touchdown.
victory for Zach over Zombie. Everybody kind of predicted Zach with Zombie's just bye week horrible
I would
team.
have beat him on a strong week
Although
anyway.
nobody
True.
really predicted Zombie to score 121 points with this trash lineup. So, I mean, he definitely got some big performances from his team, but it was not enough as Zach's team absolutely popped off. A huge win for Zach to put him to 3-7, keep the standings tight, keep himself one game back of those other teams in the last place position. If he would have lost this past week, it would have been very difficult with those other teams above him winning. So big win for him to stay alive. Sam Howell had a nice game. Rashad White continues to have nice games. Devin Singletary was a stud last week with
$66
Pierce
man.
out. Yeah, $66 man. It worked out. It was a big pickup for you. So a good GM move there. Although Michael Thomas out, injured, maybe some issues
He'll
with the
be
law. Last 2 weeks,
No,
0
there's
points
no issues.
and 1.9 points the last 2 weeks
There's
for Michael
no
Thomas.
issues with
We-
the
we
law.
told-
He's
we-
a law-abiding
And the
citizen
trip to
that
the
likes to
county jail.
donate.
Yeah, and a trip to
He-
the county jail.
He was detained, not arrested.
Okay.
There's no mugshot.
All right. Well, anyways, it doesn't matter if he was detained or not detained. Only getting you 1 point or 0 points ain't gonna do it going forward. But luckily for you, he's on a bye week this week,
He'll
so you're
bounce
not
back.
forced to start him.
That's lucky
you.
for you.
Okay. Yeah. I wish he wasn't on a bye week. Amari Cooper had an okay, decent game. We'll see how he is moving forward now with no Deshaun Watson,
He's a
as he is
baller.
now
75.
done for the year. So we'll see how that whole Browns
The
offense.
Browns have Josh
reacts.
Dobbs. They'll be fine.
Okay. Jamar Chase, though, had a really nice game. Kittle had a big game as well. So that Kittle trade seems to be working out okay for Zach, as he's had some big games for Zach. So Carlson had a nice game as well. It was pretty decent there. As
Oh,
that
boy.
Raiders offense has finally picked up with the coaching change and the quarterback change.
We want him to
Um,
pick up, but not too much. We want him to stay in that red
and the
zone
field
so
goal.
they don't get a touchdown.
On Zombie's side, we all kind of shit on Bryce Young when he started him, and he didn't
Trash.
have that good of a game. Although he didn't throw 3 picks like he did the week before, but only got 9 points. Brian and the two Washington running backs actually worked. I'll be the first one to say I shat on this lineup decision last week on
My
the show,
Washington
and
boys
it
will
worked.
be
As
lucky.
they popped off 27 points and 16 points. They both got touchdowns, so
Yeah, they
that
have
worked.
PK.
Debo Samuel had a pretty decent game. Tank Dell had another nice game, got a touchdown. We'll see if his target share stays up like this with Nico coming back as well as Noah Brown coming on the scene. But the way Stroud is throwing it, and there's plenty of wide receivers in that Houston offense to get the ball and to do well. Kyle Pitts, though, another subpar
Trash.
game, and he started 2 tight ends with
And
Taysom Hill as well.
Tyreek
And-
Hill and his flex only getting 4.3 points.
Yeah, that was not Tyreek Hill. That's the white version of Tyreek Hill, and he is not nearly as good. So
Oh,
Zombie
no.
did the 2 tight end and 2 running back from the same team
Uh.
strat, and although it put up 100, this might have been the most points I've ever seen this strat put up. but it was not enough to get the victory. And another, we'll mark this down on the record as another loss for the two tight end strat, as I think it
I
only
would
ever
also
worked
like to
one
point
time.
out, yes,
So-
I'd like to point out, last couple years I've beaten Zombie consecutively.
Oh.
I remember that Hail Murray play where Murray just jacked it up, and DeAndre Hopkins caught that touchdown pass. I believe I beat Zombie by like 0.06 or
All
something
right,
like
so you're
that.
saying you're Zombie's kryptonite.
Anytime Zombie plays me, he better be afraid.
Ooh, okay. Well, you got a big victory for him.
Good thing he ain't
Zombie,
playing
with
again.
all those people below him at the top of the standings losing, Zombie had a big opportunity here to kind of separate himself a little bit. So he does not, as he stays back only one game ahead in first place at 7-3. Like we said, huge win for Zach for 3-7. Zombie, your comments after this disappointing loss?
I wouldn't call it disappointing.
Oh, okay. Well,
I just
so
shit.
losing isn't
third year in a
disappointing.
row.
Okay. So
Get
so wait,
fucked.
you expected to
No, when-
lose? You said
Yeah,
last week you were
Yeah,
gonna
'cause
win
he's
on the
playing
show.
me. When he's
No, I
playing me,
didn't.
he
I
expects to
wasn't even
lose.
in the show.
Okay.
He's
Put
playing
in
me, he
I
expects
put
to
in a
lose.
whole buy team. Of course, I was expecting a
I
lose.
have a comment on that.
Okay.
He is thinking of excuse about putting in a bye team, but he had so many quarterbacks available, and he chose a guy that threw 3 interceptions
Bad
Colts.
management.
and
Okay.
picked up Bryce Young.
Bad
then,
management. He picks
and
up
then-
Bryce Young.
And you
I pick up the
started, you did
$66
start
man.
at the show, and then you left midway through because I remember
Yeah,
asking
it's
you
true.
about Bryce Young, and you said you're going with
Yeah.
him
You're
even
there,
though he
zombie.
threw
So
interceptions.
what?
So don't say you weren't at the show because you were for the part where I asked you
Right,
about
I
this
left.
lineup decision.
Yeah, his team
Yeah,
strat.
but I asked you about this lineup decision. So,
It doesn't matter.
anyways, okay, so you're not phased at all by the loss. You're still going to be in first place, I
Nah.
take it?
Get fucked. Get
Now
fucked,
everyone's
bitch.
off a buy. We're
Okay.
This is
gonna
Eagle
roll.
stackers fucking suck. That's what his team is.
Okay.
Just wait. The downfall's coming.
All right. So with the matchups in the books from last week, we will take a look at these tight ass standings. God, this is
Tight-ass
such a
room.
fucking tight ass standings. Zombie, like we said, stays in first place just because all the people below him also lost. So it was basically you took the top half of the standings and gave them all L's besides Bill, and you took the bottom half of the standings and gave them all W's. That was besides Pook. That was basically what happened this week. Zombie now at 7-3 in first place. And then one game behind him for that first round spot is now Rat, Bill, and Matt all at 6-4. Then myself in fifth at 5-5. Ernie in sixth at 5-5. Cheese in seventh at 5-5. Then we have a 5-5 team in eighth currently at Pussy. So very tight. All the 5-5s could easily find themselves out of the playoffs if they lose this upcoming week. Then right behind them on their heels, one game back, Slaps at 4-6, Tyler at 4-6, Pook at 4-6, and then Zach in last place, but only one game behind all those 4-6 teams at 3-7. That's why it makes it nervous for even the 5-5s. The 5-5s are only 2 games ahead of last place at the moment, so that is very nerve-wracking for anyone. Usually, when you're in that hunt for the playoffs, you're hoping to be a little bit bigger gap than dead last place. But it's a tight ass standings after last week, as we said. All right, looking real quick at the waiver claims for this past week. We had Ernie bidding $1 on the Minnesota Vikings defense, as Ernie is going all out on the Vikings. He's picked up their quarterback last week. He's now picked up their defense. He's got JJ coming back, obviously. So he is going all in on those Vikings. I would dare say Ernie's team is now the Minnesota Vikings. I think secretly he's a fan. I think if he didn't have his Eagles love, I think he'd trade them in for the Minnesota Vikings if you asked him behind closed doors. Tyler picks up the Giants defense. Okay. And Cheese, how did that Giants defense go for you a couple weeks ago when you picked
I
them?
mean, who they playing?
Okay.
Sam Howell is about
They
to get
play this week. They play who is it? Washington.
Commanders.
Ew, that's
Yeah.
gross. What the fuck is that? Sam
Okay.
Howell's been popping off.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's about.
okay, interesting. We'll see if he plays them.
I guess it's like $1.
Right. Well, yeah. I'm not talking about the money. I'm just talking about picking him up if he's going to actually use them this week. All right. Pook picks up a kicker, Jason Myers. Cheese picked up Matt Amendola, kicker, and
No
Baker
kicker,
for Bill. With
after Josh
Pat Fryermuth picked up by Zombie. We'll see if he comes back off IR and if he can stay healthy for once. could be something for Zombie as he's got tight ends on bye this week. Conklin picked up by Pussy. Jaden Reed was picked up by Pook after his nice game. And then the Chargers defense for Bill as well, and dropped Dotson after a couple good weeks. So really not much happening on the waivers, just mediocre defenses, kickers, couple quarterbacks, and no money really
I like
spent
Bill's
this
pickup
week.
because he's scared of Josh Allen being more ass, so he picked up Baker Mayfield in case.
Lol.
Yeah, well, I think
Go
he's
on.
also looking ahead to bye because
True.
Josh Allen will be on bye, I think week 12 or 13 or something. So
13.
Josh Allen on bye is better than fucking Baker Mayfield in a regular game.
Okay. All right. Looking ahead then to Week 11's huge matchups. I mean, almost every
Oh,
one of these
shit.
matchups with the standings this tight. Literally every one of these matchups
I
is
didn't even
going
notice
to
the
be
first matchup.
huge. So starting at the top with myself
This is the match of the week.
versus Zach. I don't know if it's the matchup of the week. I think there's some other ones that are closer, like standings wise. But this is a huge matchup for myself and Zach. Obviously, Zach's just trying to stack wins to get himself out of the cellar. I am trying to stay as far away from the cellar PTSD as possible after what happened to me last season. So if I lose this game, I will only be one game ahead of that cellar and probably out of the playoff picture at the moment. So it is a big chance for me to get a win to help further my cause for the playoffs and stay then. If I get the win, I'm 3 games ahead of last place with like 3 weeks left, so that would almost secure me avoiding last place. So it is a big matchup from that standpoint. At the moment, Sleeper has me predicted to win. Very close matchup, though, 114 to 110. I have Joe Burrow tomorrow night against Baltimore. Tomorrow night's game will be a huge game between me and Zach, as Zach has Jamar Chase. I have Burrow, so it will be a massive one from that standpoint. Tony Pollard. Can anybody get a Tony Pollard sighting? Can we just get something? Can I get 15, just
Nope.
15 points from Tony
Dak
Pollard?
and CD.
He's playing Carolina. If there was ever a time, now would be the time. Although the problem with the Cowboys against these shit opponents that they've been playing recently, they blow them out early on with touchdown passes, and then they just mail it in the second half and put all their bench players in and don't get it. So I need some Tony Pollard production early on in the game before it becomes a blowout. He got a touchdown last week against the shit Giants team, and there was a fucking penalty. And then this past week as well, he got a carry on the 3-yard line, got it down to the 1, and then they didn't give it to him. They decided to pass. So just run the ball on the 1-yard line, Cowboys, and get him a touchdown
Just
for his
blow it.
confidence.
Feed Dak.
Kenneth Walker against the Rams. Hopefully the Seattle offense is back on track. The Rams defense isn't that great, so hopefully that's a shootout type game between those two teams. Can anybody as well? Can we get a Calvin Ridley sighting? This guy has been nothing but straight ass since I traded for him. He has been nothing but ass. I'm begging you. You just got destroyed last week,
If he
Jacksonville.
can't bet, he ain't gonna play well.
Well, let him
Had a
bet
better
this week.
chance for
I will
Jacob.
personally log into my betting account and let him place bets on my
Hundreds of
account to
Detroit
hide
Jews
it.
stranded at Dulles
Hide
by
it.
malicious bus drivers.
Okay. Anyways, can we get a sighting from them? They just got destroyed. They need a big bounce back game. Let's get the ball to Ridley, please.
What is that?
Godwin against the 49ers. Tough matchup, but hopefully they can get him some targets.
Oh, no, jeez.
They're not going to be able to go deep down the field. Hawkinson, after his big game on Sunday night now against Denver, so hopefully Dobbs can keep hitting Hawk. Metcalf against the Rams, similar thing. Hopefully that game's a shootout. Elliott against the Chiefs, and the Browns defense against Pittsburgh. This, as Tyler would say, this line total is very, very low. One of the lowest ever set by Vegas, this over-under. I think it's only like 33 or 34 points, so they're basically projecting both teams to score less than like 17 points. So hopefully the defense can pick off Kenny Pickett a couple times. On Zach's side, Sam Howell in there. I thought you said you were going to play Tua and corn rolls.
I don't look at my lineup until Thursday.
All right.
And then
So
once
basically,
again, Saturday
we're gonna say Tua against the Raiders.
Damn, how Mike
Decent matchup there with his corn
Okay.
rolls. Maybe he'll put up a huge performance. Rashad White against that 49ers defense. Tough matchup, but Rashad White's been getting a lot of check downs, so you will think the 49ers will probably be up in that game, and he should get some opportunity. Singletary back in there against Arizona. Hopefully my boy Dameon Pierce is back not to do anything, because he never does anything in the game, but just to take away half of Singletary's carries, hopefully. Chase on Thursday night, as we said.
I'll be
Amari
there.
Cooper against Pittsburgh. We'll see how that affects him with now a rookie quarterback in there with no more Watson. Kittle against Tampa Bay could be decent. Mostert against the Raiders. Is Achane back this week, Rat?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Oh,
let's
So
take away some of
that's the big
Mostert's carries,
announcement.
please.
Yeah.
Let's
Ah.
hope for that.
He's
Who does
taking
Zach have
off.
on the bench that he could play since he doesn't check his lineup?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, I guess tomorrow night, possibly.
Hmm.
I mean, he'd have to play him over, I guess, Mostert, maybe. I don't know.
Amari Cooper.
I don't know. We'll see what Zach does with his lineup, as he says. He doesn't check
I
it
do
until
like
later, so.
watching my own fantasy players in person. I will say that.
Oh,
With
you're going to the
Carol
game
Zay
tomorrow?
Flowers signing. Yes, I am.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's hope
Yeah,
Burrow
big
puts
goal.
on a show for you tomorrow.
To
All right.
Chase.
No, not to Chase. Carlson against Miami and Green Bay against the Chargers, or he has Kansas City against Philly. Okay, we'll see what you do with those. Good luck with that.
I will be starting the
Yes.
Wait. Chiefs.
Okay. That's good. Good decision. All right. Obviously, I think this matchup is going to be close. I do like a couple of Zach's matchups for a couple of his guys. I'm very worried about Chase and Kittle. I'm worried about both of them. Although I do think some of his guys, after a couple big weeks, I mean, Zach just put up one of his most points this past week. So I'm hoping his team comes back down to earth. He has had some big weeks, and then he's had some horrible weeks. So I'm hoping after a couple big weeks,
I've had mostly
he
good.
comes back. Well, that's not what your record shows. So,
Yeah, because I
anyways.
keep getting shat on.
So I'm going to predict myself to win. I think it's going to be a close, good scoring affair, like a 130 to 125 type game. Zach's team's been performing a little better the last few weeks. But I'm going to predict myself to win, obviously. We're going to get 20 plus points from Pollard this week. Mark it down. Come on, Cowboys. And Ridley's going to get 15 plus. All right. Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
Much as I want to pick Zach, I'm a golfer. I feel like Amari Cooper is a big risk now.
Okay.
The person whose name I don't know starting at quarterback
Uh-huh. Okay.
for the Browns. But
What is
it
that
would,
That's a
be,
supposed
bust
to
stop, buddy.
it would be in my best interest for Zach to have a great win this week.
Oh.
Would it, though? Because if you lose and Zach wins,
You're 5 and
Just put
5.
you
I need any 5
closer.
and 5 teams to lose.
Interesting.
I mean, if you aren't you in the 7th spot right now?
Yeah, so I would need
So if
5
you
and 5
win,
teams to
you just
lose.
stay in the 7th spot.
But I would like to not be that close to the 8th
Well,
spot.
you're gonna be at what the 5th spot ain't gonna be any different than the 7th spot. but,
well,
okay.
if I what
If
happens
the
if
other
I-
5 and 5s win besides me,
Well,
okay. I guess if you're not worried about last place, then you can just say it. But
I'm not worried about last
Oh.
place.
okay, interesting.
I'll be finishing in last place.
Oh, okay. You heard it here first. All right,
Okay.
Rat, who's winning?
The first tie of the year is happening.
Tie. Ooh. Okay. I don't know. If,
Ooh.
actually, I'll take a tie because a tie would keep me still 2 games ahead of last
Yep.
place. Yeah, I'll take a tie. That's fine.
Then I have a hot take.
What?
That Zach going to the game, Jamar
Yes.
Chase is gonna put under 10.
Ooh.
Fuck off.
All right.
Fuck
We
off.
do.
Why
Let's
would you
remember
say
the
that?
last time Zach went to an NFL game
Oh,
earlier
shit.
this year. What happened in that game? It was a
Oh my
horrible display for our
left-
bets. So Rat might have a point there. Go to that game, Zach. Go to that game.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
left in the same
Zombie. Yeah, you left early because your fucking team was doing so bad. Zombie, who's winning?
I'm going with you.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. And Zach, you're going to the game. You're gonna get this victory this week.
GG golfer, he won.
Okay, thank you. I'd
GG,
much rather
buddy.
you say it now than at 2:30.
I'll
Yeah,
say it at all
after-
times.
Okay, well you've already said it now, so even if you say it at 2:30, I've known you already said it beforehand.
Honestly, actually, I think I could pull this one off.
Yeah, I
fair.
think you have a chance. This matchup this week is very similar to my matchup last week with Slaps. I think my team will perform okay, but I could see your team having a good week, just like I could have saw Slaps' team having a good week last week, and then they did. But it'll be close, I think. All right, moving on to the second matchup of the week. We have Matt at 6-4 versus Rat at 6-4. A battle of 6-4 teams here, both coming off of losing streaks. So one of them's going to get a big dub to get off the losing streak. The other one's going to continue with 3 losses in a row. So it's a big one here between these two, for not only for bye purposes to try to get that top spot, but also for playoffs, because none of anybody's locked into the playoffs just yet. Currently, Sleeper projecting Rat to win
Unless they
117 to
I need
110. Huh?
It should be like 10 more points from Machi, because they have him
Oh.
at 0,
Okay.
apparently. Don't worry.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens
Well,
with it.
it says 0, but
All right. Well, we'll see if he
That's
plays,
not
is what I'm saying. All right.
No, he won't.
Kyler Murray against Houston. We'll see if that game could be a sneaky little shootout possibly, with the two offenses playing a little bit better recently. Najee Harris against Cleveland. I do not like that matchup at all, especially if they're not going to give him as many carries. If Jalen Warren's the new RB1 against that tough Browns defense, don't like that very much. Pacheco on Monday night against Philly, so he's got a Monday night guy. Could be an interesting one to come down to against Rats Eagles. Diggs against the Jets. Jets pretty
Let's
decent
go
defense
soft.
with a good secondary, but Diggs coming off of a horrible game could pop off or could continue to do shit. Well, it all depends on how Josh Allen plays. Devontae Adams against Miami. Njoku against Pittsburgh. Adam Thielen in there against Dallas, as T. Higgins is also ruled out for tomorrow night already, so he's got to go with Thielen again against the Cowboys. I mean, maybe it's a similar situation where the Cowboys are blowing him out, so Thielen just gets some short yardage, check down, quick throws. I don't think Carolina's going to be able to hold the ball that long against Dallas. Booker on Monday night as well against Philly, so a couple Monday nights. And Sunday night, the Broncos against Minnesota. He's really going to go with the Broncos? I mean, Broncos defense been playing better, but Minnesota's offenses look pretty good. Interesting. On Rat's side, he's got Mahomes back off bye on Monday night, so his Chiefs stack on Monday night. This matchup, if it comes down to Monday night, will be very interesting with both sides having some big players in it. Otchain, as we said, against the Raiders. Breece Hall, if he's still on his team, against Buffalo, or maybe he makes a trade with me. Tyreek Hill against the Raiders, back off bye. We'll see. He could have a monster game in that one. DJ Moore against Detroit. Detroit's been giving up some points, and with Justin Fields back, maybe that helps DJ Moore. Kelsey as well. Terry McLaurin against the Giants could eat. So that's a pretty decent matchup. I like McLaurin. Aubrey against Carolina, and the 49ers defense against, as Zach said, Baker, Trash, Mayfield. That could be a decent matchup there. I'm going to take Rat. I think Rat's team is better than Matt's by a decent amount. I think Matt's wide receivers that were at the beginning of the year playing really well are now kind of a little inconsistent. It seems like only one of them has a big week, and both of them don't at the same time. And I don't like Najee, as I already said, so I definitely will give the edge to Rats running backs. And I think that Philly Chiefs game is going to be a pretty high scoring game with some points. So I think the Chiefs stack will do well and with Hill, I think Hill will have a monster game coming back off bye. So I think Rat wins this one in a pretty decent size, like a 25-30 point blowout. I think Matt only scores about 100 points, and I think Rat scores 130 to 140. So I think Rat will blow him out this week based off the matchups. Jeez,
Can I go
who's winning?
first?
Oh,
Fuck.
yeah. Go ahead, Zach.
Who's playing?
It's Matt and Rat.
Rat ain't the only person blowing Matt out this week.
Okay.
Matt's wallet getting blown out for
Uh,
sure. By that
okay.
stripper.
Okay.
GG, Rat.
Thank you.
Boy.
It's the battle of Swifty, wholesome, the Swifties, so wholesome, Taylor Swift, such a wholesome girl that
And the
everybody
stripper
loves,
lovers.
versus the stripper side where you don't want to fall in love with them because then they take you for all your money. What a
Indeed.
contrasting matchup there. All right. Cheese, who's winning?
We love wholesome
I
vibes.
am unhappy that the 4 teams play each other.
Say that again. You broke up.
I'm unhappy that the 6 and 4 teams
Oh.
play each other.
Okay, well I'm not asking you that. I'm asking who's
But-
winning.
I'm gonna pick Matt just because
Matt. Wow.
Rat is
Just
rooting
because you
for
feel bad
his-
for him?
No, because Rat's gonna have to root for the Chiefs to fuck his Eagles.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
Boss.
Oh, interesting.
so
Okay.
he's gonna get karma for that. And that one.
That's an interesting take there. Okay. All right. Zombie.
I'm going with My boy
Just
Matt.
say Matt.
Your
Yes, I know
boy
you
Matt.
say it every week. You say it every week.
Okay.
You're 4-6 on predictions.
See, but that should be a compliment to you, Rat, because
I know.
he's more worried about your
He's scared
team
of my team.
overtaking
I
him
know that
than
is
Matt's
true.
team. So
True.
that's
I'm not
why.
worried about Fake Red's team.
Yes, you
Okay.
are.
Beat
You
him
predict
Well-
me every week, buddy.
Zombie,
beat him
nobody's
when
worried
we
about your
play 'em.
team, buddy.
Okay.
Chill.
I ain't worried about that fucking trash team.
All right, Rat. You said not necessarily when Cheese made that good point about you have to root for those Chiefs players against your Eagles.
I'm not gonna Charles Barkley guarantee because
Oh.
know how that's gone the last 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
It's went south. I don't have to root against my Eagles because that's gonna be a high shootout game
Oh,
and we're gonna
okay.
win. And Kelsey Mahomes are gonna get me the points I need though.
Okay.
And Chain is back, so be aware, buddy. Just these covers RB1.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All
Yep,
right. Well, we'll
yes,
see.
sir.
That, like I said, big matchup there. All right. Moving on to another big matchup: a battle of 5-5 teams. Cheese at 5-5 versus Pussy at 5-5. Both coming off wins to get them to 5-5. So it's a huge one. Cheese right now projected to win 120 to 102. So lower scoring match projected for Pussy's team, where Cheese's team projected to do pretty well. We'll see if that is correct. Cheese has Goff against Chicago. Pretty decent matchup there. At home as well. Goff plays well at home. Should be a good score for Goff. Aaron Jones, Mr. Limited against the Chargers. We'll see how he plays. It seems like it's either boom or bust for Jones. Although the Chargers are giving
I
up
don't
points
think, look,
left
I
and
don't think
right.
10
So.
points is that bad. For my
Yeah,
RB2.
but not for where you took Aaron Jones and
Okay,
what you
but this
expect
point,
for him.
you gotta reassess.
It's not like you're putting some bum running back in there. Jahmyr Gibbs against Chicago as well. So those Detroit boys against Chicago, very good matchup. I think Gibbs does pretty well again. CeeDee Lamb against Carolina, also a very good matchup. Puka Nacua, as we said, back with Stafford being back, most likely against Seattle. I'm hoping that game's a shootout, so hopefully Nacua has a pretty well game as well. Evan Ingram against Tennessee. We'll see if he has a bounce back game with the Jacksonville. Deontay Johnson against Cleveland. Tough defense there. I don't know if I like him very much, but maybe he just gets some targets this week with them in a low scoring affair. Amendola, the kicker for Houston, and the Detroit defense against Justin Fields in Chicago. On Pussy's side, he's got Brock Purdy against Tampa Bay. Should be pretty decent. Etienne after his bad week against Tennessee this week. See how that works. Jaylen Warren against Cleveland. Tough matchup, but if he gets more opportunities and maybe some more catches, maybe for PPR could put out a decent scoreline.
Stay with me, everyone. PPR.
Against Tampa Bay as well, so the Purdy to Ayuk connection. Jacoby Myers against Miami. Tyler Conklin against Buffalo. I guess. Javonte Williams against Minnesota on Sunday night could be a decent matchup there for him. Bass against the Jets, and the Cowboys against Carolina. The Cowboys could absolutely feast on Bryce Young and that horrible Carolina offense potentially this week, so I like that matchup a lot. Couple matchups on both sides I like quite a bit. I think this will be a lot closer than Sleeper thinks. I think Pussy's team has the potential to score a decent amount of points this week, although I just like Cheese's team a little bit more. I think some of his games are primed to have big performances with their matchups like CeeDee Lamb. I think Ingram has a big bounce back game because I think Jacksonville has a bounce back. I think Nacua has a nice bounce back game. I think the Detroit boys do very well in that matchup at home. So I just like Cheese's team a little bit more, but I think it will be a closer, higher scoring affair in this one, definitely compared to what Sleeper thinks. But I'm gonna go with Chiefs. Rat, who's winning?
I think Cheese is gonna sneak out one, and it's gonna be
Okay.
very close. And
Okay.
this is because David Montgomery revenge game against Chicago.
Ooh, that is a good
and
point.
Gibbs
Yeah.
might not get the touches we are expecting, and the Chiefs will have to panic of how close the score will be.
Okay. Interesting point
There
there.
you go.
Could happen. Zach, who's
Good
winning?
app.
Who's playing?
Cheese versus Pussy.
He's not.
Pay attention,
Pusa.
you autistic fuck.
If you ever
Pusa.
paid attention, you
Easy.
would know.
Who's the easy?
I hope you never
Pussy.
come back from
Wow.
Vegas.
Oh my god.
Pusa will destroy. Absolutely destroy.
I have one
Ooh.
more comment though.
What? Go ahead.
I have one more comment.
Yes, go
If
ahead.
Cheese loses to Booster this week, he will be stuck at that bus stop with those shoes.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's a tweet I saw. So
Jesus.
I'm just saying.
Okay. All right, Zombie, who's winning?
Wow, Cheese is actually gonna make the playoffs. It's crazy.
Oh, oh, okay. Wow, you sound surprised there, Zombie. Wow.
Yeah, because Cheese's team was ass at the start, and
Hmm.
then Poop
Yeah,
gave
he
him.
made a
Still
good.
have.
He made some good trades. He trade raped some people. So.
All right.
Don't say some people, just say his name. Say Poop.
Well, no, he did a good trade with
You know?
Pussy too. I mean, besides last week, Deontay Johnson had been pretty good.
Well,
So.
yeah, but mostly Poop.
Oh yeah, the Pook one was obviously a really big one with Gibbs. All right, Cheese. You get picking up another win here,
Look,
or
I'm gonna break the cycle finally. The
okay.
win-loss cycle. I would like
Uh-huh.
to. My Lions boys are gonna carry me.
Okay.
Aaron Jones could also do good because the Chargers don't play defense.
Uh-huh.
No matter how bad he is, the Chargers don't play defense.
Okay.
CD obviously is him. Like I said, Puka back in the lineup. We're happy about that. My team's coming together. I got
Okay.
that
At the right
random
time.
Houston kicker now that Jay Stroud is winning the MVP. They're going to score a lot of points.
Okay.
With Pusa, I am worried about Dallas defense. That could be a big pickup, but
Okay.
Tyler Bass scores like one. His kicker sucks. Tyler Conklin sucks. So, you know, Tennessee
Okay.
has a good run defense.
Wait.
Shut
Real
down.
quickly, you said you're worried about the Dallas defense, but didn't you have the Dallas defense? And you traded them
Yeah,
straight up
'cause I
for the
didn't.
Detroit defense.
Yeah.
So
I didn't like. I didn't
you
like
could
some of the
easily
other
have it on
matchups.
the other way right
I
here.
didn't like. I didn't like the playoff matchups.
Okay.
Dallas.
All right.
I didn't want to be a part of that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. All right. Moving on to another.
The best matchup of the
This
week,
I'm gonna
yeah.
say this is the matchup of the week. Two teams at 4-6. If Zach pulls off a win against me, they could easily find themselves at the bottom. Pook has at the moment less points for than Zach, so if he loses, he's definitely going to be at the bottom, which
So
would
Tyler.
be the first. I don't know what is Tyler. I think Tyler is close. Let me see here. 1-1-0-8. Yeah, they're both below Zach. So if either one loses and Zach wins, we will
Yeah,
have
we
a
know
new
who's
person at the
losing
bottom
this
for
one.
panicking. So this is a big one. I'm going to call it the matchup of the week. At the moment, does Pook have a lineup set? He does. Oh my
This
God.
is his lineup.
And as we
Okay.
said, bye week problems for Pook. 98
Yeah,
for
bye
Pook,
problems.
122 for Tyler. So a massive blow up right now, according to Sleeper. Tyler has Lamar Jackson tomorrow night against Cincinnati. So he's rolling with, interesting, he's rolling with Lamar tomorrow night against Cincy in that game against Prescott against Carolina. Last week he chose Prescott against the Giants. I'm a little surprised he's not rolling again with Prescott against Carolina, who's also bad. So interesting decision there. We'll see if he keeps Lamar in there and how he plays tomorrow night against Cincy. Austin Eckler against Green Bay. Josh Jacobs against Miami. Devontae Smith on Monday night against the Chiefs, so possibly an Eagles boy could fuck Pook, possibly. Hollywood Brown against Houston. Mark Andrews tomorrow night as well. So Tyler has two big players at the moment tomorrow night with Andrews and Lamar. Hopkins against Jacksonville. He got quite a few targets. We'll see if he keeps it up. McPherson as well. So Tyler has three Thursday night players. And Washington's defense against the Giants, he picked up. That's a decent pickup for this week as the Giants are absolutely horrible on offense. On Pook's side, CJ Stroud against Arizona. That's a pretty good matchup. I expect Stroud to keep performing well. Keaton Mitchell tomorrow night. So they both have Thursday night players. Keaton Mitchell, we'll see if he could get off to a good start with Mitchell tomorrow night, or if it's Gus Bus or Justice Hill. Saquon Barkley against that Washington defense. Tyler Lockett against the Rams. Mike Evans against the 49ers. We'll see with that. Schultz, though, against Arizona could be decent. Tajay Spears in the flex against Jacksonville. I don't know. Jacoby Myers against the Rams, and the Miami defense against those Raiders. So interesting. Pook obviously has Bijan on a bye, which hurts. Olave on a bye. Joshua Downs on a bye. So he's going with Spears in the flex at the moment. Obviously, Sleeper has it heavily one-sided. I agree. I think Tyler's team, although I'm a little surprised he doesn't play Dak again, I definitely think Tyler will get off to a good start tomorrow night. And I like Tyler's matchups, and I like his lineup overall a lot better than Pook's side. I don't like Barkley a whole lot, obviously, because he's basically the only person on that offense that can try to do something. But they get behind so big that they can't just run the ball. And I don't know about Evans against 49ers. After his big game last week, I could see him putting up a lower score. So I think Tyler wins this one by about 20 to 30 in an easy victory for Tyler and sends Pook into a lot of trouble in the standings, someplace that I've never seen Pook before in my life. We might possibly see after this week and dead last potentially. All right, Cheese, who's winning?
Luke, welcome to last place, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wait, didn't you project me to win?
But I said I would like it Zach won. So this is my what I want to happen.
Okay.
Also, Pook's not winning in general this matchup. Unfortunately for him, he's bipocalypse. Lockett didn't Lockett's hurt. Everyone who's healthy for his team is hurt. Saquon, Lockett.
They don't
Mike
have
Evans.
anything next to Lockett.
If you refresh, they do. He
Oh, he didn't practice. Ooh, well, that could be really good for my DK if he doesn't play. I'm kind of hoping
Mike
he's
Evans is a quad injury, so like
out.
Pook's fucked. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Pook's fucked. Tyler will go to 5 and 6.
Yeah,
maybe
and
a
still
playoff
be
push.
alive.
The playoff push for Tyler?
Maybe so. I think
Maybe.
in my my predictions I picked Pook to edge out Tyler for the last spot. That's looking
So,
a little bit wrong at the moment. Okay.
But Pook's season will be ending.
Well, with how close the standings are, it wouldn't be over if he lost this week. But he would
I will
be
predict-
he would have to go almost perfect the rest of the year.
I will predict Pook's season ends until it ends, because it will end.
Okay. Yeah, you keep predicting that, and then he ends up winning.
It'll happen.
Okay.
It'll happen.
All right. Rat.
Pook Lee is in last place. Charles Barkley
Hmm.
guaranteed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I don't know how he wins this. It would be a miracle. He should change his team name to he can't fucking make right trades because she's raped
Oof.
him,
Ooh.
and that's gonna
Oh
cost
yeah,
him.
I forgot to thank Pook for the great trade
And
we made
so,
earlier this year.
Okay.
Pook,
What a great trade.
All right.
Pook's cocked. Pook's cocked.
Whose turn is it?
No. Zach's turn.
Okay, Zach, go ahead.
Well, I have a good feeling about this one that
Okay.
we could actually see our
Yes.
first tie of league history
Really? Tie.
in this game.
Really?
Zach
Okay.
is unserious.
I believe it. No, I truly believe it.
So
We
is
could
it
have
a
tie.
low-scoring tie or a high-scoring tie?
It's going to be a game where both teams are neck and neck all the way to the end,
Oh,
and
no
there's
shit.
just
That's what a
nothing
tie is.
dividing them.
That didn't answer my question, though.
Like I said, it's going to be nobody's going to have enough breathing room this game. It's going to be
okay.
so close, and there's going to be no separation.
Okay, Zach, just out of curiosity, there's 3 teams at 4 and 6, 1 game ahead of you. Out of those 3, Slaps, Tyler, and Pook, which one do you want to see in last place behind you the most?
Oh, this is a good question.
Since you're currently in last place, who do you want to see out of those those 4 and 6 teams that you have a chance to pass this week?
This is a good question. I have probably pissed off Slaps a lot this year by not negotiating with him in trades and not trading with him as we usually do.
Okay.
So I hope he doesn't end up in last.
Okay, that's nice of you. Okay.
Yeah, who are the other two? Pook and who?
Tyler and Pook.
Tyler, my good friend Tyler, he's
Uh-huh.
had a rough couple of years lately.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't really deserve to be in last place.
Okay.
So I think we all know who the fuck should be in last place. This fucking lead bitch, last place. Everybody would love that shit. We'd all be taking fucking.
We have
screenshots
never
and
seen
never
from
letting it
first to worst in this.
We
And
haven't.
that would
We
be
haven't.
that would be
And
what would happen this year with Pook
That
winning
first
last
was an
year.
asterisk year. Asterisk year.
Okay. Okay. All right. Zombie, who's winning this matchup? I think I know who you're taking.
Zombie ain't picking Pook.
You'd love to see me in first place and my boy Pook in last place.
Ooh.
Oh,
This is
whoa.
going to my heart.
Get more
Zombie with an undeserved first place.
Wow.
Well, Zombie, you might not be in first place after this week. So if Pook's in last, there's a chance you might not be in first. So.
Whoa.
Mm.
Listen, I'm gonna choose Tyler not just because, you know.
You're choosing because it's
Pook?
fucking Pook. Just
Uh-huh.
fucking get all
Yeah.
of it.
No,
Because
I
of the
put
lineup?
I put Tyler as my 7th seed.
Yeah.
to get
Okay.
in.
Yeah. All right.
And
So you're
that's-
feeling
and I
good
think
that he
he's
can make a
gonna-
run.
Tyler's team
Yeah.
name's appropriate.
Okay.
Tyler's team name.
Yeah, the team name does fit now because if he beats Pook, well, Yeah, if he beats Pook, if Zach wins, I mean, there's a chance. Well, I guess there's really no chance Tyler could be in
What's his
11th.
team name?
Team 11th or better. But if he beats Pook this week, he will be team 11th or better. So just not last. 'Cause he'll send Pook to last if he wins. So that's a good team name for this week.
Pook degrades fantasy.
Mm.
That's his new team name.
Yeah, it's been a rough season for Pook. He made
Pook
some
got
questionable
scraped
draft
by me.
picks, and then he's also made some trades during the season that were questionable. So rough season for Pook, but he's not out of it yet. 4-6. He wins this week somehow with his buys. I don't know how he wins, but I didn't think Ernie had any chance of beating Rat a few weeks ago, and
Okay,
that
that
happened.
was-
So maybe
it
Pook
is
somehow
good.
pulls it off somehow
And
crazily.
my score
So.
was projected more, so that's the crazy part.
So if that happens, then he's right back in it at 5-6. So it's a big week for him that he somehow needs to find a way to pull a win. All right.
There's a big one.
Moving on to another decent matchup here. Bill at 6-4 versus Ernie at 5-5 after Ernie's lost last week. Very interesting matchup here. Could potentially be a good one, close one. Right now, Ernie predicted to win 112 to 109. So close matchup here. Ernie has Joshua Dobbs after his big performance last week. Now on Sunday night against Denver. Denver's defense been playing a little bit better, so we'll see if Dobbs is for real or if he has a bad game. We'll see. McCaffrey against Tampa Bay. After his no touchdown last week streak broken, I expect him to get back on track and get into the end zone. James Conner against Houston. Houston's defense ain't that great, so we'll see if Conner can put up a good game. He looked pretty decent in his first game back, just didn't get a touchdown. Obviously, the big story, Justin Jefferson back off the IR. As long as he practices, then he should play. It looks like what the signs are pointing to on Sunday night. So he's got the Dobbs to Jefferson, and then he also has Jordan Addison in there as well. So both Minnesota wide receivers and the Minnesota quarterback. So Ernie is, I guess, thinking this is going to be a big-time offensive shootout for the Vikings through the passing game. Sam Laporta against Chicago. Good matchup there. He should do well. Jackson Smith-Njigba against the Rams as well. Could be decent if it's a shootout. Tucker tomorrow night to get him started. And the Eagles defense against the Chiefs. He's really playing the Eagles against the Chiefs. Interesting. So Ernie also does have a couple options on the bench. I guess he's got
I think he picked up
Dobbs.
the Vikings on purpose. No.
Oh yeah, so
Probably
he's
gonna
gonna
play the
play.
Vikings.
So he's gonna potentially have 4 players in that Vikings Denver game on Sunday night. Interesting choice there. I don't know if I like having that many players in one spot, especially both wide receivers. I don't know about that. On Bill's side, he's got Josh Allen against the Jets. David Montgomery against Chicago could be very good. Chuba Hubbard in there against Dallas. Interesting. Is his running back on a bye? Oh yeah. Oh, he's got Kamara and Taylor and Pittman on bye. Wow. So some big bye problems for Bill here potentially. So Hubbard against Dallas. Keenan Allen after his huge game against Green Bay. Waddle, though, is back off bye against the Raiders. Kincaid against the Jets. Nico Collins, assuming he plays against Arizona. Folk against Jacksonville. Buffalo against the Jets could be decent.
Wait, who does he have? Nico Collins doesn't play. Does he have anybody?
He would have
He
to
has
go
his-
with 2 tight ends, I guess. Or yeah, you'd have to
Probably.
or pick up somebody else. Yeah, I didn't realize Bill had this many buys this week. All right, man.
Bye week,
I think
Bill.
that just makes this even closer. The fact
Yeah.
that Bill is just. I think if Bill was at somewhat full strength, or even if like one of them was on bye, like Pittman or Kamara, but not the other two, then I think
I'd
Bill
like
would
to go
win this. I think Bill would win this pretty easily. But the fact that he has all those big guys on bye, and then if Nico doesn't play, that just makes it even more problematic. I am gonna take Ernie in the ups. Well, it's not an
I'd
upset.
like to go first.
Give me a second. I'm going to take
Hurry
Ernie in this one, even though I do not think the Addison-Jefferson combo will work. I think if Jefferson has a good game, I don't think Addison will. I don't think this is the right matchup to be playing both of them. But I still think with his McCaffrey and Connor and other guys, I think he still edges out Bill's team. I think he'll be close, though. All right, Zach.
Well, golfer and everybody else, it ain't gonna be close. It ain't gonna
Okay.
be close.
All right.
We all know who's winning this one. Ernie Viking Reyes will pull this one out of the bag.
Like I said, he's got more
handily
Vikings
and
than he
kick
does
Bill's
Eagles.
ass.
I don't think he's an Eagles fan. I think he's a Vikings fan secretly.
That's why his middle name is Viking.
Okay. All right. Cheese.
Look, I said Bill was not losing again the rest of the season.
Ooh. Okay.
You're a fucking idiot.
Even with these buys, he's not
I
losing.
can't fucking hear you down there, Zach. Fucking last place, Zach.
You're a fucking stupid ass fucking idiot. Fucking no fantasy football fucking bitch. Shut the
You
fuck up.
done? You done, buddy? You
Shut the
got your
fuck up,
energy
fucking
out?
cheese. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking
You got
piece of
your
shit.
energy
You
out,
won't ever
little guy?
fucking win this fucking league. Get the fuck out of here.
You
Why
need
are you
some
calling him
juice?
bitch, you
little?
ain't making
He's
no
way
fucking
taller
Need
than
some
you.
juice?
He's way taller
Need to
than
calm
you.
down, buddy?
I don't know why you're calling him little.
The stick.
Oh,
Snap in
okay,
half.
thin. Okay, jeez. All right, who's
Bill's winning.
Shut the fuck
Really?
up, cheese. You
Okay.
fucking
All right, Zach.
allergic
Let him
ass fucking
talk.
Zach,
COVID
go
fucking
take your
Let
nap,
him
shady
buddy.
talk.
bitch.
Go
Shut the
take your
fuck
nap.
up.
Lie down.
Fucking bitch.
Let
Shut the
him
fuck up.
talk, Zach. Stop.
Fucking gluten free bitch. Fucking allergic to everything under the sun.
Punch someone's windshield like Michael Thomas, buddy.
Go eat some
Um,
fucking bread.
Oh, it was a brick.
Come on.
So Ernie's betting too much on the Vikings.
Okay.
Not gonna end well. I don't think the Eagles defense will help them that much.
He's
or
not playing
JSN.
He's
Eagles
gonna probably play
defense.
the
I
Vikings
don't think
defense.
Okay, then that's even worse.
Okay.
Denver's been looking actually really good recently. I think Bill, he has some bye guys, but he's still got Keenan.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got Monty.
He needs
best
Allen to have a
game.
good week. This isn't the week that Bill can afford for Allen to.
Josh Tannehill.
Tannehill.
He's gonna be Josh Mahomes this week.
Ooh, against the Jets. Okay.
It's the Jets. They suck.
Your
Who's last
defense
name
isn't
there?
bad.
Nico Collins, if he's back, that's a good matchup.
Okay.
Not back. I'm a little more suspicious. I think it'll be close, but
Okay.
I think Bill will ruin Ernie's return.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
Send him to 5-6 and take over first place.
Wow. Wow. Take over first place as well. You threw that in there at the end.
I mean,
Wow.
doesn't he have the most points? Easily?
No.
Let's
No.
see.
Oh no, he's
I
only
still
down
do.
by
1250. He has way more than
Yeah,
Zombie.
it's kind of hard to catch me by 40 now.
He has
Oh,
way more than Zombie. So
Who's
if
Rat play?
Rat loses,
I ain't
Rat?
losing.
Oh, Matt.
yeah.
So
If
will
Rat
win.
loses and Zombie loses and he wins, then he could take over.
Yeah, that's the outcome that we need.
Okay. All right.
Hey, but-
Rat, who's winning?
I think Ernie wins this matchup.
Shocker.
I think, I predicted Ernie last week to lose and it lost.
Okay.
The Broncos had the fakest win I've ever seen against the Buffalo Bills.
What do you mean fake?
Joshua Dobbs.
Oh,
had a better air-
timeout.
No, I'm
The
gonna say it
Broncos
because
played better than the Bills in that game.
You have
They played
some
better.
men on the field. They
The Eagles
played
have the
better,
fakest
but
Super Bowl. I
The
don't hear
Bills
anything
did
about
not
fake.
deserve to win that game. Now, the fact they had a
Tom
chance to win it, they did have a chance to win it, but they did not deserve to win it. The Broncos
Look,
played
we
better.
shit on Zombie for running the two-strat. This two-strat is better because it's wide receivers. They get points better for
Yeah,
catches.
it's not a tight end strat, I'll
And,
give you that. But four
it looks
things
like
from
Madison is
Minnesota.
going to be out, and I don't think they're going to use Chandler as much. And they're going to let Dobbs air it out to Addison and Jefferson, and they're about to cook.
But
And
one
Ernie's
could
gonna
one
win.
could counter you on that and say that's a problem because if the Broncos know that all you
Broncos
need
are
are
gonna
going to do
cook.
is throw it, they could get pressure on Dobbs and just play
the Vikings
coverage.
are going to cook your Broncos. Okay? The Broncos are
Okay.
cooked.
All right. We'll see.
And Chuba Herbert is a guy that could get 0 points.
Yeah, I don't like that at all against Dallas, but what can you do? He's got both his running backs on bye. Okay, Zombie. Who's winning?
I'm going with my boy Ernie.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Alrighty, moving on to the final matchup of the week.
Oh boy.
Zombie at 7-3 versus Slaps coming off his win against me at 4-6. Another big week here for Slaps. If he could somehow edge out a victory, it would be massive for his season. Right now, Sleeper projected 117 for Zombie to 111 for Slaps, so a slight edge to Zombie. Zombie has his Eagles boys, Jalen Hurts on Monday night against the Chiefs, as we said. Swift against Kansas City and Brown against Kansas City as well. So a big Eagles threesome against Kansas City. If that game is a shootout, that's big for Zombie. If it's somehow a dud Monday night game like a lot of them have been, that could be a problem for Zombie. Brian Robinson against the Giants is a very good matchup. I expect him to do good coming off his big game against that horrible Giants team. Cooper Kupp against Seattle. Welcome back Stafford. Hopefully that gets Kupp back on the right track after the bye. Pat Freiermuth in there against Cleveland. Not the greatest of matchups, but maybe he can get some passes over the middle if he's back playing. Deebo Samuel against Tampa Bay and the flex. Cody Dicker against Green Bay. And the Houston defense against Arizona could be decent, although with Kyler in there, there's always that potential that Kyler has a decent game, and Houston's not the greatest. On Slap's side, Herbert off of his big game against Green Bay could be decent. Henry looking for a bounce back game against Jacksonville. Mixon tomorrow night against Baltimore. That's a tough matchup for Mixon. We'll see if he can get a touchdown. St. Brown against Chicago is a good matchup. Very good after his big game. Christian Kirk against Tennessee. Trey McBride after his big game against Houston. So Trey McBride has a chance to put up some points and also hurt Zombie's defense in the process. See if he can have a back-to-back good games. Garrett Wilson against Buffalo. Hopkins against Pittsburgh, and then the Pittsburgh defense against Cleveland and their quarterback issues. That could be decent. Pittsburgh's defense is already pretty good at getting turnovers, and now they're facing a QB that's not the greatest. Let's see. This one I think is going to be the tightest matchup of the week. I like a couple of Slaps' matchups, but then there's a couple I do not like. I don't like Slaps' running backs really at all this week. On Zombie side, I think he'll have the edge there, so I'm going to give Zombie the slight edge to win the matchup overall just based off of the running back difference. And I think the Eagles boys do pretty decent. I don't know if all three of them put up massive points, but I think at least two of them will. So I'm going to take Zombie, but in a tight matchup. Zach, who's winning? This is Zach here. It's Slaps versus Zombie.
I think this is once again clearly going to be a very close matchup. I don't think either of these teams will score 80 points. I think both of them will score.
Okay.
Maybe both of them will score exactly 72.10 points, and that's how it will end.
And tie. Okay.
And tie. Yep. We have a second tie this week.
All right. I think the only way Zombie scores 72.5 is if the Eagles stack gets completely hurt right away, all of them. Or there's a Damar Hamlin situation at the start of that game and none of them play. All right.
Oh my God, this was the matchup with Damar Hamlin last year, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
No.
It was what we had 2 weeks ago, Bengals and Bills.
No, it was Slaps and Pook.
Oh yeah, Slaps and Pook in the final. All right. Cheese, who's winning?
I'm rooting for Team Chaos.
Asterisk.
Slaps is winning.
Oh, okay.
Zombie's the fakest 7-3 team I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay, strong statement there.
Gee, you're the fakest Jew of all time.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Wait. Zombie does have a small point on that. You don't fully support Israel, so
No,
it
that's
might
a
be a little
country.
bit of a fake Jew.
That's a country.
I mean,
Do you even wear a hat, Cheese?
Israel is like the
Like-
Jewish homeland. What do you mean?
No, the Jewish homeland is New York City, baby. No one
Okay.
cares
Oh
about
my
Israel.
God.
Stop.
Oh,
Who gives
God,
a shit
just
about
stop.
Israel?
Yeah, that's why there's all
Whoa,
kinds
somebody
of
clip that.
Palestine
Somebody
protests
clip that.
happening in New York, but it's the
Somebody
Jewish
clip that.
holy ground.
I'm
Jeez.
as much as a Jew as Larry David is. So that's what. So Zombie's team, like, look, he's cursed with the Monday night games.
Mm-hmm.
Every Monday night game is ass.
Yeah,
He has 3
they have been.
players.
But if anyone was going to break that curse, it would be this game.
Let me look at the schedule for this year and look how ass they've been. Even if
Well,
it's
yeah,
good
the unders
teams,
are like 11-1 or 10-1.
even if they're good teams, it's still fucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
he's
these
gonna
are
be
like two of the
fucked.
best teams.
Yeah, so they're gonna be a defensive masterclass.
Ooh,
The
okay,
fuck up, Cheese.
interesting.
Slaps, Herb's got a good matchup. He's gonna cook Green Bay. Henry's gonna cook Jacksonville.
I just forgot, this is the revenge Eagle stack versus the former owner Slaps.
True,
And
true.
Herbert against Zombie. This is
Herbert's-
interesting.
Herb's gonna fuck Zombie, and
Yeah.
Zombie's gonna get upset about it.
Ooh,
He's
okay.
gonna like it actually. Sorry, he's gonna like it because that means the Chargers won.
Well,
Brown's
not
gonna pop
necessarily.
off.
I mean, Herbert popped off last week, and the Chargers still got the loss. They scored 38 points and lost.
Look. Pittsburgh defense gonna score like 25 points
Okay, yeah.
because I don't know who's starting quarterback for.
It's their
Browns.
rookie. Some bum
But yeah,
rookie, Dorian Smith.
Yeah, Slaps. This will be a low scoring. I think it's gonna be the lowest scoring matchup.
Wow.
Like I said,
Okay, so similar to
72.1
that.
points.
Okay.
I think the Eagles boys will they'll disappoint.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I agree
All right,
with
Rat.
Keith.
I was gonna say, I think we know who you're taking, but go ahead.
Slaps is winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be the Eagles. This guy's disappointing. It will be
Oh.
Jalen Hurts doing good, but AJ Brown not doing good because
Oh.
it's a Devontae Smith game.
Ooh.
Devontae
Okay.
Smith will be the guy on Monday night to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and
Okay.
that's where Zombie will be screwed. And
Okay.
Zombie will move down to third.
Oh. Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's just hope in this Chiefs-Eagles game that you don't blame the field this time when Kansas City beats
Oh,
you, since
buddy,
it's
can
at
I
Kansas
say something
City.
about that,
You're
buddy?
probably gonna blame the field
Oh.
when you lose to Kansas
Can I
City since
say
it's at
something
Kansas
about
City.
that?
So,
The Eagles
yeah.
are going to be back, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. So I could just be
Ah.
pissed.
All right.
There we go. Put it on the clip.
Zombie. Everyone's predicting slaps besides me. I picked
And me.
two. Oh, Zach picked a tie. Are you pulling off this win against slaps or what? Keeping first place?
Yeah, that Monday night game's gonna be like 50-49.
Oh my God. Okay.
What?
That's a little bit
And
higher scoring than high scoring. Okay.
by the time next week, when Slap loses, he's gonna want to nuke his team, but he's gonna realize the deadline's back.
Well, he was already bitching in the chat earlier today about, mates, is the trade deadline earlier this year for some reason? He's already having PTSD over not being able to trade next week.
That's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game, but
At
I'm
least
gonna win
Zombie,
and-
at least one thing real quick. At least he won't be saying GG to you at 2:30 because all your players play on Monday night.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna be
he's
a
not going to be losing by any amount.
No, he's still going to say
So he's
GG.
not going to be able to.
Offer,
He's going to have to wait till Monday night to give
I
you the
will
GG.
say that's gonna be a very fun watch party on Monday
Oh
night.
yeah. Well, slaps won't be
Unless
up, but
no, Zombie's
yeah.
usually a bitch. Doesn't go to the watch party.
I
Yeah,
am not.
that's true.
I will not be at the
Oh, I
watch
will be
party
at
if the
that
Eagles
watch
or
party.
Chiefs.
Wow.
I will
Wow,
be
first time
going
for
out
everything,
for
I
that game.
guess.
Jesus. Okay.
Listen,
I'm a
I'm
fan
gonna
of the
beat
team.
Slaps, and
Mhm.
Fake Red's gonna lose the third consecutive week. It's gonna be great.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting
I will put
predictions
a bet
there.
on that live on the show.
Ooh. All right. Well, you guys can talk that
$100.
over. All right. So with that being said, good luck to everyone on their
If
matchups.
that